Imagine sharing your most sensitive work with an AI, only to have those private thoughts suddenly appear on Google.
It's the perfect illustration of how easily a security oversight can turn a simple chat into a massive privacy liability.
And the real question is, how do we fix this before the next company accidentally exposes its entire intellectual property? Welcome back, I'm Bella.
And I'm Michael. This show's scripted and produced with AI, built by Tahababa, pulling today's stories straight from blog.tahababa.com.
If you want these landing in your feed most days, go ahead and subscribe. Let's get into it. We need to talk about something that just popped up in the AI security space. It seems that publicly shared Claude conversations are actually being indexed by search engines like Google and Bing.
It's a classic case of oversight. People assume that sharing a link keeps the content private, but if it's indexable, it essentially becomes public web content.
That's where the privacy concern really hits home. Imagine someone accidentally sharing a draft with a resume or some internal code, and now it's searchable by anyone.
Exactly. It underscores the fact that organizations need to treat those AI share links with the same level of caution they apply to public web pages.
So the real question becomes how companies can effectively educate their employees about these risks and stop these misconfigurations before they happen. Wow, Corgi just hit a $4 billion valuation in just 8 weeks. That kind of explosive growth really signals something massive is happening in the insurance space.
It certainly does. Tripling the valuation that quickly highlights the sheer capital intensity of building out these modern insurance models, and it points directly at the investor appetite for innovative distribution.
But the kicker is how they are diversifying, moving into data room software and even physical coffee shops. Are they trying to bridge the gap between digital finance and physical experience?
Exactly. It forces us to think about the future of insurance as a platform. The real question is whether that rapid diversification is a sustainable growth strategy or just a high-risk gamble.
It seems like the risk of expanding too quickly might be just as interesting as the reward. It really challenges the boundaries of what insurance can be. This partnership between Visa and Airwallex sounds like a massive shift in how global trade actually functions. They are tackling those incredibly slow international settlements in the freight industry.
Indeed, when you look at the industry, 42-day settlements and 20% administrative costs are just systemic friction. Embedding finance directly into the logistics workflow bypasses that friction entirely.
So they aren't just fixing a workflow problem, they are redefining global trade. That moves the focus from simple payments to embedded working capital tools for shipping companies.
Precisely. It's a perfect example of billion embedded finance moving from the theoretical to the practical. The real challenge now is how quickly the existing, traditional payment rails can adapt to this level of integration.
So American Express is doubling down on marketing and tech upgrades to catch younger cardholders. It sounds like a serious pivot.
It certainly does. They are trying to balance that legacy status with the need to compete directly against agile fintech disruptors like Ramp and Brex.
That brings up the big question. How do you actually balance that deep history with the incredibly fast pace of fintech innovation?
It requires them to find a way to integrate digital experience without losing the established trust that comes with being a traditional card issuer.
It seems like the real challenge isn't just the technology, but how they manage that tension between heritage and modern experience. $21 billion is a staggering figure. It really sets a new benchmark for private equity fundraising in the tech space.
It certainly does. That massive infusion signals that investor appetite for technology and fintech investments, especially at scale, remains incredibly strong right now.
So if that capital is being deployed, what does that mean for the next wave of consolidation we might see across the fintech landscape?
It suggests we can anticipate increased activity in buyouts and strategic roll-ups across enterprise software and fintech sectors. Consolidation is likely to accelerate as capital flows into these areas.
Which sectors are you thinking might see the most aggressive investment strategies with this kind of money?
Given the context, the enterprise software and fintech landscapes are poised to see the most aggressive strategies, driven by the expectation of continued growth investments.
That is a stark picture of how quickly physical infrastructure can buckle under the weight of digital demand. A single line failure causing a 3-gigawatt swing is staggering.
It really highlights the sheer fragility of current grid planning when you factor in the relentless expansion of AI infrastructure. It turns an energy issue into an immediate economic threat.
So it's not just about keeping the lights on. It's about energy reliability becoming a core part of strategic planning for any company scaling AI operations.
Exactly. The real question is how tech giants and regional economies are going to address this shift. Energy resilience has to move from an afterthought to a foundational requirement.
It makes you wonder what kind of risk mitigation strategies are actually being implemented right now to ensure that compute power doesn't dictate economic instability. Wow, the pace of development is absolutely insane. Grok is essentially sprinting out the door with 4.6 and 4.7 coming so fast.
It really highlights how quickly the competition is intensifying. We're talking about a 2-week gap for 4.6 and then 4 weeks for 4.7, which is a rapid cadence.
And that jump to a 2 trillion parameter scale for 4.6 sounds massive. It makes you wonder what those new capabilities actually look like when they drop.
Exactly. That scale is clearly aimed at surpassing models like Kimi K3, meaning the race isn't just about incremental updates, it's about exponential parameter growth.
So for developers, the real challenge is staying ahead of that curve and integrating these huge advancements before the next release hits.
Precisely. The window for businesses to adopt these cutting-edge tools is getting ever shorter as the pace of innovation accelerates.
Wow, YouTube is letting an AI chatbot generate custom thumbnails now. That sounds like a massive shift for content creators.
It certainly is. It streamlines the creative process significantly, removing the barrier of needing specialized design skills just to make a visually engaging video.
It really blurs that line between the creator and the consumer, doesn't it? It feels like AI is moving the heavy lifting of production into the platform itself.
Exactly. The real question for marketers is how this automation will reshape audience engagement and the overall economics of content creation in the near future.
So, we're moving from designing the thumbnail to simply prompting the AI. It makes content creation incredibly accessible.
It's automation at its most basic. It suggests that the focus will shift less to the visual execution and more to the strategic conceptualization behind the content.
And that brings us to our final round of quick hits before we wrap up today.
Let's dive right in.
We start with Cursor Unveiling Cursor Router, a system that automatically selects the best AI model for each coding request.
Wise's rejection of a U.S. National Trust Bank charter application underscores the formidable regulatory hurdles facing ambitious fintechs.
Anthropic has just redefined the high-end AI market with the launch of Claude Opus 5, delivering near-Fable 5 intelligence at half the cost of competitors.
NVIDIA is reportedly backing $250 billion in OpenAI data center financing.
In a bold statement during a recent interview, Sam Altman declared we are in the singularity, pointing to AI's recent role in solving long-standing scientific conjectures.
NVIDIA's reported $250 billion backstop for OpenAI's Ohio data center project marks a new chapter in the marriage of AI infrastructure and semiconductor giants.
Lightrail AI has just unveiled a game-changing tool that demystifies viral content by analyzing millions of TikToks and Reels to predict performance and suggest targeted improvements.
New research from SimilarWeb reveals a fascinating split in how consumers shop with AI. They trust chatbots to discover products, but revert to traditional search for price comparisons.
Finally, NVIDIA, Microsoft, and Meta have taken a unified stance against overly broad restrictions on open-weight AI models, arguing for targeted enforcement to mitigate misuse while preserving innovation.
That's today's show, scripted and produced with AI by Tahababa.
You can read the full write-up anytime at blog.tehababa.com. And if you want these landing in your feed most days, hit subscribe.
See you next time.